This episode has been brought to you by Fornos Law Firm, devoted to optimizing your legal results at fornoslaw.com.
Welcome to Push Room Life After Injury podcast, recorded June 16, 2014. Episode 43, Push Girl Mia Schaikewitz. I'm Ray Pizarro.
I'm Richard Bell.
We want to thank our audience for being with us. These podcasts were created to talk about spinal cord injury related topics, disability resources, and also spotlight individuals that found ways to get past their challenges and are now a great source of inspiration. On this episode, our friend Mia will share her story and also her experience as one of the Push Girls, as seen on the Sundance channel. Welcome, Mia.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Glad you can make it out. Before we get started, we would like to introduce our guest host for today is Jessica Brito. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, girl. Let's kick it off, shall we?
Hey, so Mia, we'll start with you. How did you get injured and where did you do rehab?
I got injured when I was 15 from similar to an aneurysm. It's called an AVM, an arterial venous malformation that ruptured in my spinal cord. And I did rehab at Atlanta, Georgia at Shepherd Center.
Okay. And how was it?
Shepherd was amazing. Shepherd was probably the best experience for me because I went in there thinking my life was over. I thought that I didn't have, anything to look forward to. I thought, I wasn't going to be able to do anything again and learn independence. And Shepherd told me the complete opposite. They showed me everything I could do, and they really pushed me to be who I was, who was someone that really, valued independence and helped me get on with my life.
Awesome. Yeah, so what is your level of injury?
I actually have a few different levels. I had a couple AVMs. So the one that was at the top was a T6. And then I also had one at T910. So they had to go in and remove both of them. So I'm incomplete, but I also have different feelings on different levels. So I'm kind of all of a mishmash of levels, so to speak.
Cool. And then what did you do when you first got home? Were you scared, and was it a hard transition or?
Oh yeah, I remember. I guess 2 months in, they started letting us go home for the weekends, and I would go home and beg my parents to take me back to the hospital because I was so uncomfortable being in my old home and it not feeling the same and not knowing how to do things the same way. And I lived in a 3-story house, my parents had to get a chairlift in there that I was not familiar with, but it also went really, really slowly. So just going up the stairs to my room was, very unfamiliar and frustrating, and so it took a little bit of time for me to get used to my old life again. So yeah, when I first got home, I wasn't so thrilled, but then once I started getting back into my old routine, going back to high school and doing things that I did before, everything started to become normal again.
Right, and you were able to graduate on time. And
I went back to high school and graduated on time. And, looking back on it, I thought getting paralyzed at 15 was actually probably the worst timing. At the time, I felt that way. And now looking back on it, I think it was actually really good timing for me because I was able to get back to myself and feel comfortable and then, graduate high school and then go away to college. I wanted to go away from home and experience what it was like to live in the real world, so to speak, where people didn't know me, before my injury, that people were just going to see me as someone in a wheelchair. So.
Wow. College.
Yes.
I mean, doing college in a chair seems, I don't know, just weird to me.
Yeah, well, for me, it was very scary. I think, for the main reason that I was going to go into this place where people didn't know me as Mia before. They were just going to see somebody in a chair. And when I went to the college to check it out, I actually saw a mural where someone had wrote something kind of derogatory about somebody in a wheelchair. And it almost scared me away when I first saw that because I thought, oh gosh, is this what the world sees? And I didn't know if I was ready for it. But, it was my plan before I got injured, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to let the chair hold me back from anything I wanted to do in life. So I pushed forward and went anyways. And the first experience I had was rushing a sorority there, where I had to go and had an interview in about 16 different houses, and none of them were accessible. And I had to, meet these girls that never knew anyone in a chair, mostly for the first time, and exert myself and just be who I was. And through that experience, it really taught me that, whatever you put out there is what people are going to see and pick up, and that's how they're going to view you, and they're not going to see the chair if you don't let it be something of a big deal. So once I started, acting, as I should, as the chair not being a big deal, other people didn't see it as a big deal. And that was the beginning of my whole life, starting off on my own and towards independence.
Cool. Now, after a while of being with people, it becomes an afterthought. They start focusing what's on your mind and what's in your heart, and later you're just Mia.
That's exactly right.
And it feels good when you can make that transition.
And you learn that from other people's experiences. I think my first boyfriend, at the time, he had mentioned that his parents, had asked him. They said, well, what is the wheelchair? How does that hinder her? And he's like, she's literally the same. She's like everybody else. Maybe she can't walk. That's it. Things are different, but it doesn't change the person as a human being. So I think once people are opened up to that experience and that world, they see something completely different. And now my best friends are some of the people that never knew me walking before. And I really think that's a really cool way of introducing people to something that they never knew of, is just showing them how your life is the same.
Yeah, I didn't notice that some of my friends were apprehensive at first when I got home. And then they realized, oh, he's still the same crazy dude. So
that's what people in my high school said. I remember being really afraid to go back into my school, thinking, oh gosh, they're going to see me as different. And this first day that I went into school, I heard someone walk away from me and say, she's the same, just sitting down. And I'm like, exactly. And that is, it really is true.
Did you feel like being in college, because nobody knew you before, that you weren't being compared to see if you were the same?
Exactly. I think yes, and I think that's one of the things that I appreciated, is it was a clean slate, and it was almost an experience. It was almost like I would say my own experiment in a way, to just see, how I was going to be able to do that, because I knew that I wanted to even move to LA after college. And so if I couldn't survive in college, how am I going to move across the country and start in a whole big city where I didn't know anybody else either? So it was, my first test, I would say. And I tested myself, and I actually put myself out there to see what would happen. And, pleasantly, I found out that it really was up to me. It was up to me what personality I put out there is what other people were going to be drawn to. So regardless of the chair.
Wow, you moved all the way to LA. That must have been a trip.
Yes, it was. I drove out here with one of my girlfriends that I met in college, and that in itself was a trip.
No pun intended.
Yeah, we were in her little Saturn coupe, and we just took what we could fit in the car, basically, and drove out here. And it was interesting finding a place to live at first, because there weren't a lot of places that were accessible.
Exactly.
In my brain, I had always pictured LA to be really modern and new, and I thought it was going to be all accessible. And when I got here, I found the complete opposite. I found it actually more inaccessible than Atlanta and Florida, where I had previously lived. So it was kind of, a little bit daunting at first to say, oh gosh, we have to find a place to live in a week and nothing's accessible.
Yeah, no, this is an old city.
It is. And we found an apartment. It was funny though, we found it, we drove by a sign and we said, well, maybe that's cool. And, we didn't have my chair at the time because we had left it at her cousin's house, because we didn't think we were going to be stopping anywhere. We were just going to go through a drive-through. So she had to pick me up and carry me into the house to give me the tour, because we knew we had to jump on it. So she's carrying me around the house. Yeah, and she's like carrying me around the house so I can see everything. And I didn't even notice until after we signed that there were 2 steps to get in it.
Oh.
So I had to figure out how to manage that, and it was hard because it was in a driveway. So we couldn't just lay a ramp there and keep it there the whole time. So I had to figure out how to make our ramp, and then I learned how to jump down some stairs to make things a little bit more quicker on a everyday basis. So that was my first experience living in an accessible apartment on my own.
Wow.
And you moved to LA because you knew you wanted to pursue acting, or?
No, originally
drove you?
I had just an instinct to move here. It really had nothing to do with, acting or entertainment. I majored in production in college, so I moved out here and I ended up working in a recording studio first. And so things kind of went from there, and then I decided I wanted to get a degree in graphic design. So I went back and got a certificate in that while I worked in radio. And, at that point, I moved into graphic design and started being a project manager and doing that for a living. But I have to say, throughout my entire experience in those jobs, I would always write down in my journal, like, this is great and very fulfilling, but I also feel that there's another thing inside me that I really want to pursue, and that's opening up eyes to open up the mass audience of people's awareness through the mass media to let people know, that, we are the same, and we don't have to be discriminated against, and people just have to see us as real people. And I didn't know how to go about that, because every audition, so to speak, if we did go out and try to do something in the media, they were all very stereotypical and perpetuating these negative stereotypes, which I didn't want to be a part of. So I never knew how it was going to manifest, but I always knew it was a dream of mine to be able to do something that ended up being Push Girls, which is kind of interesting how that kind of fell into our laps in that sense.
Yeah, how did that come about?
Well, I had originally met Angela through an acting class at her house. And then I met Authy at an audition. She tried to recruit me for her dance team, and we became friends. And then we all met Tiffany a few years later, and we just really clicked. And we all basically had the same mission, and that was to open up people's minds and make this world a little bit more accommodating, so to speak, through the minds.
Right.
And so we started, going out and doing public speaking, and Angela, really pushed us to be, core as a group, to be able to have a mission behind not only our friendship, but also doing something proactive for the community. So, she had suggested that we do a show to a producer, and the producer said, yeah, let me meet the other girls, and here we are, 2 seasons later. It really manifested from there, and I have to, give credit to Angela, who really put that, initial vision out there for all of us, and it was, a dream come true for a lot of us, and also for a lot of other people that really wanted, something to be in the media spotlight, so that we can have something that represents something positive,
Right.
Which we haven't seen a lot of
So-
over the years.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So, it being a reality show, you're portraying your life every day. Like, how does that feel? I know in maybe probably like the second episode or something, you shot a scene where you're in a bathtub transferring. Like, how does it feel to expose yourself that much?
Yeah, I think out of all the girls, I had, probably the most apprehension about it, because naturally I'm a very private person. I'm a little bit more shy, and like I said, because I had that dream of mine, I knew that if something happened where I did need to give up my privacy, or I did need to be more in the spotlight, so to speak, was going to be worth it if I had to release that to be able to make a difference. So yes, it was a challenge, but it was also for a good purpose. And yeah, I would have never thought in a million years that I would be showing how I shower on national television. But, looking at it when I had that opportunity, I do get a lot of questions about how do you shower, and people are so afraid to ask. Mm-hmm. And that's what our show really wanted to do, is answer these questions that people are so afraid to ask. And when people are afraid, they're going to stay afraid, and they're not going to be able to open up, and they're not going to feel comfortable with people that are different from them. So the more I could do, and the more I could push myself to be more open, was just going to help the cause. So that's what I did. When I had those moments, I said, well, here's just another opportunity, and here we go.
Yeah, it's super amazing how when you invite people into our adaptive ecosystem, if you will, and see what how we get around, how our morning routine is, how we transfer, how everything takes a little bit more time to do in the mornings, how we drive. All of a sudden, they look at you as a super person in some kind of way, right? Like, wow, they kind of compare themselves a little bit and say, my life isn't so bad. That broken toe that I had, compared to this girl, she's limited and challenged in a lot of more ways, right? And here you are doing all these things and changes people's perspective of what it is to have an injury or having this challenge, you know, and just wonderful. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that also what's interesting is, you know, people do get a different perspective, but to us, it's normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we don't even think about the time. We don't even
No.
think about the extra. We're just doing. And it's funny how people think that that we really are, you know, so challenged in everything we do, when we really are just doing what we do because we want to keep going and keep living. So
It becomes routine.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just like brushing your teeth in the morning or at
Yes.
night.
Yes.
You know, it's just you don't think twice.
And I think the show shows a lot of normality in our lives too, because you guys do so many things that everybody else does that the audience can see, okay, they're just like us, type of thing.
Yeah, like relationships and, you know, partying, going out, and
Yes, and I think that, you know, a lot of people that aren't familiar with our world will feel bad for us, and they pity us because they think we're limited and they think that we can't do those normal things. They think, oh gosh, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've all probably experienced going out to a club and someone comes up and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing you made it out here tonight. Good for you, you know? And it's like, huh?
Oh my
you
God.
know, I'm just out here partying like everybody else. And it really is something that was really important to show that, yeah, we don't even think about it. We do just like, you know, we do things just like everybody else, and we're not limited. If we want to do something, we're going to do it, regardless of the chair.
I think we have a very powerful, not responsibility, but at the same time, being out and exposed to people. I tell people all the time, rolling down the street and people behind you, just seeing what you're doing, just crossing the street or whatever, we inspire them in their lives. And we don't even know how many people we touch just by going to the liquor store. Am I right?
Right,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, and that's exactly why I feel that this happened for a reason, and that I feel it's a gift. And it's for that exact thing, is that, you know, I think about, you know, just going and pumping my own gas at a gas station. That may make someone think for 1 second, you know, about, you know, their lives and put things in perspective. And I didn't even talk to them, you know. So I think that is, you know, being visible, and the more we get out there and live our lives in normal circumstances, the more we show others that, hey, you don't have to pity us. You don't have to feel sorry for us.
yeah, I know when Ray and I go out to a club, we destroy the dance floor.
I am not surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm going with y'all next time.
Oh man, it will be an experience.
Yes, it will.
We would close it down.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're just still the same people.
Yeah.
And it's you know, before I got injured, I never even thought about, you know, I didn't know anybody in a chair really. I didn't, you know, so, and it's interesting that now that I am injured, I see that it's really no big deal. I'm still the same person. Some mobility issues, but other than that, you know, you still stay the same.
Yeah, you are you. And I think that was one of the reasons when I first got injured, I was so afraid, is because I did not know anybody. I had never met anybody,
Right.
even with a disability in general. And so because of that, I had no role model and no reference. And I think I remember being 15 and sitting in my hospital room and looking up at the TV and saying, gosh, I wish there was somebody in the media or on a show that I could say, hey, they did it.
Yeah.
Like, I could do it too. And I remember in that moment being, wow, maybe I could do that someday. Maybe I could be that for others. And so the fact that it even happened is almost surreal to me in a lot of ways. And I think, you know, seeing what difference it has made, and the letters and the letters that I've gotten from other people, you know, that have gone through it, or people that, you know, are just learning about this world for the first time. They're seeing, you know, something that they never experienced before. And like I said too, I think it's a gift in that ways also, is that our worlds have been opened up.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes some people get bothered being in a wheelchair, that other people don't understand their disability, but at the same time, all of us, when we first got injured, probably didn't know anything about our disability. And
That's right.
having a show like yours kind of opens everybody's eyes, to kind of opens a window to what it is and what with the injury.
Yeah, I think we all had those moments probably before we were injured where we didn't know. I mean, I remember one very poignant memory for me, and it's funny that it stands out, but I remembered it being in the mall one day and seeing somebody that had a very severe disability, not being able to speak or anything, not being able to be independent, but I could tell like their family was very protecting them. And I remember walking by and just being like, well, you know, I feel comfortable with that, but I don't know how to express that, you know, and I don't know whether I should look them in the eye, or I don't know whether I should say something. And, you know, so when I see other people doing that with me, it's kind of, I can't judge them for that.
Exactly.
I can't say you know, don't look at me strangely, you know, because until you know something, you're going to fear it or you're going to not know. And I think that's what we're all trying to do is bring some awareness.
I love how they ask my wife, what would he like to eat when I go out to the restaurant? Like, I can talk.
Yes,
like
exactly.
You're not, like you're uncommunicative or something.
Yeah. And even if you were, so what? That's the thing, you know, people could just, you know, figure out, you know,
Keep
so
an open
what?
mind, right?
Yeah,
when you go into it.
Yeah, anybody can be different. There's still people, you know.
Now about Push Girls, you guys finished season 2,
Yes,
correct?
Yes, we finished season 2.
And right now you guys are, pending, hopefully picking up a third season?
Yeah, hopefully it will continue on.
Good deal.
In some capacity. So we definitely, you know, love everybody's support and hopefully, and I think too, even though Push Girls has felt very big and like a big accomplishment to us and also to a lot of people in the community, I really do feel like it's the beginning. I feel like it's just starting.
Right.
A revolution, so
Hopefully.
to speak. Yeah.
Hopefully.
And also
it's opening doors.
It really is. It wanted to congratulate you on your Critic Choice Awards. Winners.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was last year, right?
Big
That
congrats.
was. Thank you.
How was that for you?
I think that was actually probably one of the highlights of my whole experience up until now was the Critics' Choice, because here we are, you know, at this big event with the biggest TV stars, you know, going on right now, and here we go and we accept an award just like everybody else, and people are congratulating us and really seeing us as, you know, people in the forefront and not afraid, but more excited that the media is changing and opening up doors in that sense too, and feeling accepted in the media. And being on that stage and accepting it, you know, was one of those moments where I was like, here we are, we've made it, but it's also just the beginning, you know? And so it was such a beautiful experience.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that must have been awesome.
Yeah.
Be able to accomplish that. So yeah, as we get to, let me see here, we're getting close to the end, but I want to make sure we have Jessica ask a few more questions she had for you.
Well, I had some questions like dating life. I know that when the season ended, you had started dating one of your very long-time friends. How's that going?
Yes. So we are not dating anymore, but we are still amazing friends, which we knew we always would be no matter what. But yeah, so we moved on, but I do have a boyfriend, a reuniting of an old boyfriend, and I almost feel silly actually calling him my boyfriend, because I have to say, like, this is definitely the one for me. And we're talking about engagement, and so hopefully that will be within, you know, this year. So my life is definitely transitioning, and
I better get an invite.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I need to find a place where I'm going to have a wedding where there can be like a million chairs.
I got a warehouse for you.
Just order tables and let them know you
There
don't
you
need
go.
chairs.
Yeah, we might save some money.
So
that way.
you know what? People are bringing their own chairs.
And you get to see Ray and I on that dance floor.
Oh
That'll
yeah,
be a
that's
sight.
right. I'll call you guys out first.
Oh yeah.
Boogie woogie, right?
Yeah.
So with all these life-changing events coming up, you're talking about marriage, and I know you guys were discussing on the show, a couple of you, about having babies. Are you scared to like be a mom in a wheelchair, or apprehensive? Or?
That's a really good question. I am a little nervous to be a mom, but not because of the wheelchair.
Okay.
I'm actually a little nervous just because it is a lot of responsibility, and you have to live a selfless life all of a sudden. So
Able-bodied or not?
exactly. And so, in fact, I would say the wheelchair is actually more of a reason I would want to have a child, because I do want this next generation of people to see a different world and accept a different world. And I've seen, how my brother was 7 when I got paralyzed, and just seeing how he's evolved because he's been brought up with knowledge of what it's like to live with someone with a disability and know someone on a first-hand basis, that he's so open-minded, and it's beautiful to see. So I think, it's one of my dreams to have a child, and the apprehension comes from, just life transition in general.
Yeah, you have to put your life kind of on hold and put theirs on the front line.
That's
You know
right.
all about it, huh?
Yes,
That's
I do.
right. We'll have to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great
Yeah,
that.
it's-
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
You're right, though, because my son was 4 when I got injured, and he just thinks it's normal. When little kids at the park ask him, "Where's your mom in a wheelchair?" He's like, "Ugh, she's fine."
Yeah. I remember my brother and his friends taking my wheelchair when I'm sitting on the couch and forgetting I need it, and just leaving. And I'm like, oh yeah. They're like, oh yeah, it's not a toy. You really need it. But there's something beautiful about that. And that's when you see that the prejudice, attitudes and these fears really are learned experiences. They're not coming from people at their heart. So, we can make a difference. That's the positive part of seeing that is, we really can make a difference with more awareness out there.
Good. Yeah, and do you remember that first day you made it out to the Abilities Expo?
Oh, yes.
What was your experience like that? What did you feel when you saw all the people out and different resources?
I was just amazed by all the technology and all these new inventions that I had never seen.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, and I was also a little bit surprised that, I think my first Abilities Expo was before the internet, really took off. So I'm thinking about how it's different now with all the buzz, everybody has a new community where we talk. Whereas before, you really only talked at the Abilities Expo,
right.
And so it's evolved in that sense too. It's just getting bigger, and seeing all these people and seeing how much we have gained in coming out there and coming out, and making a difference and being more independent brings more. Not only awareness, but it also brings more technology and more reasons for people to keep going and keep inventing things that will, make lives a little bit more easier for people.
Yeah, that was the first time I found out I had options for wheelchairs.
Right?
Not only one or two. There's I don't know, now over 10 different wheelchair manufacturers, and that's awesome when you could have, different options, colors, make it all customizable nowadays.
Oh yeah. That's the beauty of it. We can put our personalities into our chairs. It's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny, when it first started happening, I remember there was a little bit of backlash from people because they'd say, oh, well, why would you want to stand out more? And it's like, because I'm already standing out. It's not like...
You might as well
that's gonna
embrace it.
Yeah, you might as well make people, have a conversation starter with you in a positive way. Because, people are like, oh, that's such a cool color. Or, it really helps your confidence in the public, I think. So
I've had people actually ask me about my wheelchair, and then they start asking a million questions. Wait, you can customize it? You can change what? You can do this, you can do that.
Yeah.
When you start explaining how different things on your chair will make your chair faster, will make it turn better, will make it... Especially guys, they compare it to a car or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Look at my wheels.
Oh yeah.
We
Talk
love
about
our
dating.
chairs.
They have a lot of pickup lines that are
I'm on 24.
yeah, exactly.
I got 25s.
Yeah.
I'm rolling the bling, but it's wonderful. Well, as we get close to wrapping up here, I wish, we could do an hour and a half with you guys over here. It's just
fun.
a lot of cool conversations. So, obviously you get along with all your former friends, all the girls, Push Girls, and any shout outs you want to give out to them, or big hellos?
Of course. All my girls, we're just as strong as we were, and we're sisters, and we really are family, and this experience has only made us even more close. So it's been awesome to experience that with them. And I love you girls. Miss you. See you soon.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, and we might have some of your other colleagues on here.
That's right. Yeah.
They're more than welcome to come on. So as we get close to wrapping, where can people get in contact with you? Of course, the Facebooks, any other place people could look you up?
Yeah, you can find me on all the social medias as my name, Mia Schaikewitz, and you can kind of try to guess at the last name when you Google, and it'll come up because not everybody knows how to spell it. But my new website is launching, so go ahead and check it out at sincerelymia.com. I have a new blog starting that is actually reviewing a lot of the new products and services out there for people that, not necessarily have gotten the word out. And I want to make sure that these amazing things are getting the notice it deserves. And
Excellent.
So check it out and read all about it and contact me. I'd love to hear from you.
All right.
Give it up for Mia.
Thank you.
Big applause. Standing ovation. Yeah. Good.
Sitting ovation.
Yes.
There you
You
go.
can call it.
And you can reach us at Club Pushroom if you haven't already, and then www.pushroom.com.
Yeah, you could also reach us on iTunes, where you could download these audio versions of our podcast and take them on the go. To contact us, you could reach us at info@pushroom.com. Anyone interested in coming in and sharing any resources or cool stories about life after injury, you're welcome to email us. And we want to say a special thank you to Jessica for joining us today. You're going to see more of her if she would like to come back at a future date.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and then we could maybe talk a little bit about you and how you're doing in your school and graduating and all that good stuff.
Of course.
Right on.
Good deal. And with that, we leave you guys. Mia, thanks so much once again for being with us, and we wish you good luck, and we're all pulling for you so we can get another season of the Push Girls up, because I think it's an invaluable way for people to peek into our lifestyles and make a change. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, we leave you guys. Till next time. Goodbye.
Thanks. See ya.